What is going on, everybody? I am back with a little Super Bowl recap and a contest recap. I apologize. I feel like my camera is really hazy. I apologize for that. I mean, it is what it is. You're probably not watching for the special effects of my videos, anyways. But I do apologize for that. It looks a little bit hazy. Obviously, thanks for everybody that participated in the contest. I'll be doing more of those as the next football season, baseball season. Definitely, I like doing those. It's a great way to interact, and I have some amazing subscribers have really supported me. Are commenting on all my videos, liking them, thumbsing them up. Way I can give back as much as possible. Like I said, it's not going to be anything major, but maybe something like a new era hat, stuff like that, especially during baseball season, your favorite team. We'll do some contest and stuff. Like I said, for little things like that, just fun stuff to get people engaged. I wanted to do 3 shout outs for the contest. Nobody won. Nobody got the correct score and the MVP. 3 people were pretty close. I was definitely not one of them. I took the Eagles 27-19, and Brandon Graham is the MVP. I don't even think he recorded a tackle in the game, and the final score was certainly not 27-19. I apologize if I mispronounce anybody's name here or miss it up. I kind of wrote it down, so if I did, just correct me in there and let me know. I'm not sure if any of these people have channel. Well, I know one of them does for sure, but sub them up if they do. First one was Thomas Gull, I believe. He had 38-28 Chiefs. He was the only one that got the Chiefs score correct. Let me turn down my light. I wonder if that's contributing it. So that was awesome. And he had Patrick Mahomes, the MVP. In terms of that was probably the closest one in terms of just getting one of the scores correct and the MVP. The Eagles just scored one less touchdown for him. That was probably the closest. Shout out to my boy Sideline Report. I sub him up. I've been following him for a while. He's awesome. He had 35-21, so he was close on the Chiefs score. Obviously, the game was much closer than that, but he also had Mahomes as the MVP. And then Connor LaHoo, if I said that correctly, had 34-28 Chiefs with Mahomes as the MVP. He was probably the closest in terms of getting the game and the score correct. In terms of the closeness of the game, Thomas was the closest in terms of just the Chiefs score, and then Sideline Report was close with the Chiefs score and got the MVP as well. All 3 of those guys had the MVP correct, so shout out to all 3 of you. Shout out to everybody, like I said, that did participate. I appreciate it. Like I said, we'll do some more during baseball season and then definitely into next football season as well. Little Super Bowl recap. Really good game. Fun game. Definitely. I'll be honest, I didn't like how it ended. I thought they should have let that play. Now, I don't think, I'm not going to sit here and say, I don't think anybody was robbed. I think there's a really good chance the Chiefs are going to win that game anyways. But for me, I don't like, it took away the drama. As someone that was, I'm impartial. Like I've said all the time, my wife's family, her and her family are Eagles fans. I'm a Seahawks fan. So while I was rooting for the Eagles, I was kind of an impartial viewer to it. I just want to see a really good game. And I think that it just kind of took away the fun of having a last minute drive to determine the Super Bowl. That's really what did it for me. And that part of it kind of stinks. But congratulations to Chiefs fans and everything like that. So if you're a Chiefs fan, congratulations. That team is definitely, now that Brady is gone and the torch for the GOAT is being passed down. It's certainly, I've already had Patrick Mahomes as the best quarterback in the league, but now he's got a chance to go through and make that legacy. It's him possibly being the greatest of all time. He begins that journey now. He has 2 rings. He's been in 3 Super Bowls. The guy's been in the AFC Championship game every year he has started. Not that Andy Reid needed to cement his legacy any further, but definitely did that as well. I would have loved to seen another drive just to make it more dramatic, more fun, but it is what it is. Bradbury had his arm around Juju as well, and you can't do that. Do I think it should have been called? I would like to see it let go, but I'm also not going to sit here and say you also can't do that. It's one of those moments. Really good game. I think what surprised me the most was the Eagles defense just not having any success. I thought I didn't think the Chiefs would be shut down. I mean, that's an offense. In the way the league is today, it's an offensive league. You can never shut down a good offense completely. But I did think they'd be able to get some pressure on Mahomes, maybe force a turnover, and at least hold the Chiefs in check for some of the game. And they just didn't. The Chiefs kind of moved the ball at will. I mean, I think the game had 3 or 4 punts total, maybe. I mean, again, modern NFL teams just don't punt a lot anymore either. But definitely, and just like no pressure from the Eagles defense. But that's, what makes Mahomes so great. He gets the ball out quick. He does not get sacked a lot. People will tell you sacks are a quarterback stat. When quarterbacks, look at a good example. Let's look at this team right here, Russell Wilson. Now, I know Denver's O-line had a ton of injuries. Russell Wilson gets sacked a lot. He went to Denver and he was still getting sacked. The sack numbers tend to go with quarterbacks from team to team. So, Patrick Mahomes is a guy that just doesn't get sacked. The Eagles, I think, had the 4th or 5th most sacks all time of any team. I don't know if they got a hit on Mahomes. Maybe 1 or 2. There was a couple where he kind of stepped up and they had a shot, but just didn't, just didn't get him down. So Chiefs O-line did a great job. I thought they ran the ball well. I thought Isaiah Pacheco had a nice game. He didn't have to go for 150 and break out, but he did enough to help them move the chains. And I think he had positive yards. It felt like on almost every carry. I was really impressed with Jalen Hurts. That was kind of my concern. If you watched my pregame prediction video like 2 weeks ago, my concern, I did pick the Eagles, but I didn't know if Jalen Hurts would be able to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes if the game turned into that. That was my one reason why I would have, if I would have picked the Chiefs, that would have been the reason. And he did for the most part. I mean, the fumble was bad. It wasn't even touched, just lost the ball. It happens. But other than that, I thought he went toe-to-toe with Mahomes. Thought A.J. Brown did exactly what the Eagles did, what needed him to do when they required him. Dallas Goedert had a nice game. Devontae Smith was good. The Eagles' O-line also held up well. The Chiefs, I think, had 1 or 2 sacks. I think they had 1 sack, and I think the fumble might be considered a sack, but that's not really. I think it's like a team sack, essentially, but obviously that wasn't anything they did. The Eagles' run game wasn't quite as good as the Chiefs' run game, surprisingly. Jalen Hurts did a lot with his legs. There was a few times where I thought he should have handed the ball off and kept it. Thought he did that against the Niners and the Giants a couple times too, but those games they just dominated so much that it didn't matter. And in a close game like today or yesterday, it did matter. So I thought there were some times he should have handed it off, but it's also hard to tell on those because maybe there's just the Chiefs read it correctly. Hard to say what it, if it was the right decision or not. So definitely an entertaining game. Really good Super Bowl. It's I don't know where I'd put it, and I'm trying to think of top Super Bowls I've ever watched. I'm biased, so Super Bowl 48 was my favorite Super Bowl. Most people probably put that in their bottom 5 because it was a blowout. So it's all relative. But this is definitely a really good game. It's funny, when I was growing up, that people forget there was a time when the Super Bowls were blowouts every year. The Dallas Buffalo games, the Niners Chargers, the Redskins, Washington and Buffalo, the Niners Broncos, the Washington Broncos game. You had the Niners Bengals mixed in there, which was good. You had, the Giants and the Bills was good. For the most part, the Super Bowls, through the 80s and 90s were a lot of blowout games. It really turned around the year Denver played Green Bay and beat them 31-24. Then after that, we had a really good string of games. Baltimore Giants was bad, but then you had the Patriots Rams was a good Super Bowl. Even then you had some bumps. Bucks Raiders was a bad game. Patriots Panthers was really good. Eagles Patriots was good. Steelers Seahawks was awful. That was actually really kind of boring. Even trying to look at that game impartially, that was kind of, I think, a dud Super Bowl. I mean, Steelers fans are going to disagree, but even if you look at that impartially, I think people would have that as kind of a bleh Super Bowl. But we've been very blessed recently. We've had some really, really good Super Bowl games. Like I said, for a while there, when I was growing up, that was not the case. There was a lot of blowouts. And the NFC was dominating the Super Bowl for years. What, they won 15, 16 in a row? So yeah, I mean that's that. I was incorrect. I thought the Eagles defense would show up more. I'm actually, if you're a Seahawks fan, watch this. I'm gonna have a video up. I'm gonna talk about should Seattle draft a corner at number 5. I'm gonna talk about where does pass rush come from. And yesterday was a great example of it. The Eagles have an amazing pass rush. They could not get home on Mahomes. So you look at, if Seattle wants to compete with these teams, okay, they need to improve the pass rush, and they do, and they need some better guys in that D line. But does the pass rush come from lockdown secondary, or does it come from guys getting to the quarterback? Because Mahomes is getting rid of the ball so quickly, it doesn't matter how good your pass rushers are. It doesn't. You can't get there. You've got to find a way to shore up that secondary. It's going to be a fun video. I'm going to talk about why Seattle drafting a corner at 5 may be the best option for them to do and may help improve the pass rush as well if you can pair up another stud with Tariq Woolen on the outside. So I'll dive into that. I know I went off on a tangent here a little bit with that. Hope everybody enjoyed the Super Bowl commercials. As far as that goes, I'll be honest, I'm a ball guy. I'm not a commercials guy. I'm not a halftime show person. To me, couldn't care less about any of the halftime shows. Not taking away from those artists. They are very talented. I don't care. I'm trying to think of commercials, trying to think of any that I thought were good. The Pringles one is always funny where their hand's stuck in the jar. I just laugh at that because anybody that's had Pringles knows that. You're sticking your hand down in there. I feel like there's one that made me laugh. I don't remember. Probably not. Great game. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Let me know what your picks are for next year's Super Bowl. I'll throw one out there right away, which is completely ridiculous, and we should not be making Super Bowl predictions 2 days after the Super Bowl because we haven't gone through free agency and the draft. But just 2 teams I would watch for to be sleepers for next year's Super Bowl. I do wonder if next year is Joe Burrow's time. I think the Bengals are close to breaking through. As far as a sleeper, maybe Jacksonville would be a team to watch out for that's kind of maybe that next tier. In the NFC, in terms of favorites, I think the Eagles are a team that can definitely get back there. If Dallas does the right things, I know it sounds like, oh my, really Dallas, but if they can get Dak playing a little better, I wouldn't count them out of it. As a sleeper team, with the way they finished the year, I think Detroit is an interesting sleeper team for a Super Bowl run. I don't know how much I trust Jared Goff, but we'll see. The Niners are going to be there, and hopefully the Seahawks make some improvements and can be in the conversation as well. Again, hope everybody enjoyed the game. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.